Have you heard about these things called a Trump account? And you're thinking, how does it work? How do you fund it? Who is it for? Why would I do it? All of those things. On today's episode, we have our specialist with tax planning, tax strategy, Taylor Wolverton. She's going to walk us through exactly how these accounts work and why you might want to have one of these for your child or grandchild. So make sure you listen to the whole entire episode.
We hope you've been enjoying all the episodes from the Secure Your Retirement podcast. If you'd like to keep learning and receiving these episodes, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications by hitting the bell so you receive alerts when each episode comes out. We've helped thousands of listeners get on the path to securing their retirement. Now it's your turn. Let's dive in.
So we've been talking about Trump accounts, and the question kind of has been coming up as we've been talking to clients as to how these things work. And there's been a lot of questions around it. And so I appreciate your feedback on this, Taylor. So we appreciate you coming on and chatting with us today on the podcast. But you
Yeah, of
know,
course.
one of the things that I just wanted to say, because we were talking about it, is sometimes I think people think, oh man, these we're hearing these things called Trump accounts, and they are labeled that. And there's some benefits to them, and there's some things that people have questions about. So I just wanted to kind of have us chat about how these things work. But I also want people to know that if you're listening to this podcast, for us to set up a Trump account and for us to do this for somebody, there's zero money to us in that. I mean, we don't make money opening these up, but there are some benefits that people can take advantage of. And we just wanted to talk it through. And I know that Taylor, you were saying that you've kind of looked at a lot of the different aspects. And because here's some of the questions I think people have. Like, first of all, what is a Trump account? Who qualifies for it? How do you open them? What does that look like? And then what are the contribution rules? How are you eligible? Then how do you get money back out? Like, how does that work? And then I think a big one that you were even talking about, Taylor, when we were talking earlier is people are confused, like, well, should I do this instead of a 529, or should I do this instead of a brokerage, or should I do this instead of a Roth, or like, what are my options around that? So I just thought it would be nice for us to kind of have a conversation around those topics. So thinking, I know Merce, you're here too. So if anybody's listening, so
Yeah, I agree. They've been talked about for a while, but then there's more information now. So Taylor, let's just go ahead and kind of dive in and understand what is a Trump account from the basics.
Right, yeah. So this is new. It was introduced as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which was signed into law almost a year ago, July 4th, 2025. And it was initially introduced as part of that law, but they kind of said we won't actually implement this until July 4th of 2026. So as of the time that we're recording this podcast, the ability to actually open this account and fund the account is a brand new thing. But really, the intention behind this account overall is to give kids the opportunity to start saving and investing for the long term.
well, good. So now, but I think that you just said kids, so it's going to take us
Right.
right to the who. Like, so when you say who is this for, and what are I guess the age requirements and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so to open this account, this is for children under the age of 18. And a parent or a guardian will administer the account initially until the child that this account is for turns 18, at which point they will take over the ownership of the account. So to be eligible, like I said, has to be for a child under the age of 18. They have to also be a US citizen and they have to have a social security number. So fairly simple, but yes, it is absolutely geared towards children.
Okay, so let's say that I've got a child or a grandchild, and I want to open this up. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so the ability to open the account has been around for a few months now. You did have the opportunity when filing your 2025 tax return if you were claiming your children as dependents as part of that. There was an IRS form that could go along with your 2025 tax return, or you could fill out that form as a standalone as well. But now there is also a website. The URL of the website is trumpaccounts.gov. It will take you to a website where you can download an app to also open the account now. So the app may be the easier way to go about it, but it was possible to do it with your 2025 tax return. So if you did that option, you may have already gone through the process and filling out the information needed.
Yeah, I have heard that the app is pretty smooth, and in the app world that we are in today, most people tend to want to go that way versus an IRS form. So,
Yeah,
and it seems
right.
like it should be pretty straightforward, maybe a 10-minute opening process.
Yeah, it's quick.
So, with all these different accounts that people are used to, I mean, we got IRAs, 529 plans, you've got Roth IRAs. Um, we're all used to the fact that when we're doing that, there's rules about how much you can actually fund. And so I guess before we get into like the advantages or anything like that of this account, what are the funding rules? What does a person have to know that how much can they put in?
Yeah, there are contribution limits. So right now that limit is $5,000 per year for each account. And the $5,000 is supposed to go up annually starting in 2027. So if you're listening to this after 2026, then the contribution limit may be different for future years. But one thing that is really unique about these accounts and that is being talked about a lot is that for children who were born between January 1st of 2025 and in the future, December 31st, 2028, those children, when opening these accounts, will receive a one-time contribution of $1,000 from the US Treasury.
Hmm.
So any child under the age of 18 can open these accounts, but for those specifically born between 2025 and 2028, they get that free $1,000 contribution. It's tax free. There's no income restrictions or limitations on that. Anyone in those years, that's really the only requirement. They get $1,000 to start off.
So it's just like promoting childbirth.
Yeah, in a way.
I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. There's not many ways that you can get $1,000 tax-free. So if
Yes,
someone
it
was
is
born between
rare.
25 and 28, it seems like a no-brainer. We'll learn
Yeah, for
more.
sure, at least for those children, just get the account open, get the $1,000. Whether you contribute beyond that or not, it's a different conversation. But yeah, I agree. Might as well just start off with $1,000. That $1,000 also, to be clear, does not count towards the $5,000 contribution limit. So if you still want to add another $5,000 on top of that, you can go ahead and do that. That is a possibility there. There are also opportunities for other institutions like charities or even state governments are eligible to make contributions if that is something that comes up for your child or grandchild. That does not count towards the $5,000 a year limitation. And there are also employers, some companies that have already announced that they are also going to make contributions towards Trump accounts. Employers are limited to $2,500 a year in contributions. And that also does not count against the 5,000, or I'm sorry, that does count against the $5,000 a year limit. But fortunately, that will not be included in the employee's taxable income. So say, for example, your employer says, I'll put $2,500 into your kid's Trump account, get the $2,500. Now your contributions are limited to the other $2,500 as part of that $5,000 limitation, but you don't have to pay tax on that $2,500 or anything like that. So kind of again, just like free money in a way from your
So,
employer.
so just to clarify on that point,
Yeah,
it's not something I could do as an employee, like a payroll deduction, like I do with my 401k, right?
correct. Yes, it has to come directly from your employer. And yeah, like I said, there's just like multiple companies that are announcing that this is something that they're going to participate in. Not every single employer is participating in this, so you would have to find out from your particular employer if that's something that they're doing or not. So, and then the last source I kind of alluded to already, but just from any other contributions, it could be the grandparents, the parents, the friends, the neighbors, the aunts and uncles, whoever else wants to add to that account. Again, contributions from all of those sources are limited to the $5,000 a year, and there really is no tax benefits or anything from those contributing, but yeah, it just adds to that child's account balance over time.
Okay, very good. And so we set up the account, we get the $3,000 and we're doing the
Yep.
5,000 a year. And I don't know, let's just say the kid now is 18 and thinking about college and there's $50,000, whatever number, there's $50,000 in the account. How can we start actually utilizing this type of account?
Yeah, so right now, well, that kind of makes me think too. One other thing I should say right now is that the investments, the way that this account can be invested, it has to be invested in a US equity index fund. So it's not like, you open a brokerage account at Schwab and you have access to the entire stock market. Could be whatever you want, could be bonds, could be international funds, whatever. These Trump accounts are restricted to US equity index funds. So that's one thing to be aware of. But yeah, over time, as you're contributing to this account and as it's invested, the account balance is growing. So once the child reaches 18, that's the first opportunity you have to start distributions. There is no way to get money out of this account prior to age 18. So don't go in with the expectation that you're going to get the $1,000 contribution from the government and just use that right away to buy diapers or whatever it is. You can't get it out until they are 18. So know that going in. Same with the annual contributions. You're going to wait till 18. But at that point in time, it's kind of really similar to traditional IRA rules. So for one thing, you can leave it for retirement like a
Mm.
traditional IRA, you cannot take distributions until you're 59 and a half. So that also applies to Trump accounts. But there are some exceptions that you can take distributions prior to 59 and a half for things like a first-time home purchase. True for a Trump account, also true for a traditional IRA. You can take distributions for education or for disability or for health insurance if you're unemployed. Things like that. All the same rules apply to traditional IRAs. They also apply to Trump accounts. If you take distributions for anything else between 18 and 59 and a half, you will pay a penalty. So be aware of those restrictions on distributions. And then as far as taxes go, it's a little bit unclear still exactly how this is going to be handled and treated, but it does seem right now like the earnings inside of the account will be taxable as ordinary income, and the contributions to the account will be tax-free as kind of like a return of those contributions. So there'll be probably a little bit of like a funky calculation that has to go on when we're taking distributions, but I would say for the most part, just expect ordinary income taxation on those distributions too.
Now, didn't I thought I read on these that let's just say that I had a kid for 5 years. I put money in, so $25,000.
Okay.
I maxed it out. I got 25,000, and let's say that the account has grown by five. So I've now got a $5,000 gain. So that's tax deferred. That
Yes.
I could convert this to a Roth, and so now I've just taken now I have $30,000 in my account that's all Roth like. So now it's all growing tax free for my child.
Yes. Yeah,
So
that's
and I only
definitely a
pay tax on
possibility.
that 5,000. I
Correct.
you know.
Yeah.
So I think that is I didn't know too much about Trump accounts up until us talking about this. So thanks for doing a lot of the research here, Taylor. But
Yeah.
just a glaring difference. And I think what we're gonna do, because there's enough meat here, and I know a lot of people have questions as they are bringing in kids or they have grandkids that they want to help set up for education, and then there's a conversation of the 529s, like you said at the beginning, versus now Trump accounts versus brokerage accounts or just saving money into a bank account. But something that just jumped out to me is, to be able to fund a retirement account for a child right now is a little bit difficult in the sense
Yeah.
of the child technically has to have some element of earned income to be able to fund an IRA or a Roth account. And I mean, what 1-year-old is going to have earned income unless you own a business and can somehow finagle that? So this kind of opens the door for what everyone is looking for, which is setting up an element of building wealth from an early time. And then you can teach them too about the stock market. So I think just learning, I've been hearing from you about it. I think there are things that need to be understood, but it seems pretty enticing to be thinking about as part of a kid's wealth building plan.
And also, just on
Yeah.
that topic, I mean, when the child converts and now they're an adult, they're really converting it their tax bracket, not the parent's tax bracket. So I could
Correct.
have a child who's, let's call them $10,000, $20,000, maybe even $30,000, and they're going to be able to convert that into a Roth and pay very little, if any, tax on it.
Yeah, ideally when you're 18, you're in the lowest tax bracket maybe of your life.
Right.
And yeah, you don't have a lot of earned income probably at that point in time. So yeah, the opportunity is definitely there. And I agree too. Maybe it'd be another episode we can kind of go into the actual application of how to decide which type of account to have, which to contribute to, because it does depend on the goal. But yes, that is a unique with this type of a Trump account. All other retirement accounts, your traditional IRA, your Roth IRA, the owner of the account, even if it's a child, has to have earned income. But that's not true with the Trump account exactly. So it is that more long-term kind of retirement beginning for a child. And if they want to convert that to a Roth IRA to make that even better for them over the long term, then yeah, that's another thing to definitely be thinking about and planning for sure.
I used to joke with parents when we used to have a thing where you could do a stretch IRA. And I said it's the best way for you to make sure that your children remember you because they're going to get a check for the rest of their life, in that stretch IRA. And I like it or not like it, Trump's kind of figured out a way to make sure that you remember him, and even after he's gone. So, because your kids are going to have
Yeah.
Trump accounts, and way into the future, way after he's not here anymore. And like it or not, these accounts are here. They are called Trump accounts, and you could be happy with that, not happy with that, but there are benefits about that. And so, anyway, I'm sorry, Merce. I just thought that was funny.
I just had one follow-up question, Taylor. I don't know if you've came across this in your research. The
Mm.
contribution, is it a calendar year contribution or does it work kind of like IRAs where you can wait till your tax filing? Do you know?
That's a fair question. I don't know. In the things that I've read, that has not been specified. I've until we And like I said too, this is kind of like, okay, here's the idea. The implementation's not going to happen until a year later and kind of following. We see that with a lot of laws. Like Secure Act was the same way, Secure Act 2.0. They said, here's what we're planning to do. We're not actually going to implement it until a few years later when we have kind of all the details sorted out. So maybe that's some more information that we get. I would assume just to be safe that it's a calendar year, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So you know what
Okay.
I'm thinking, because I know we talked about this because we wanted to get this information out. Um, Kind of what I'm thinking, instead of us trying to take and overwhelm people about this, I think what we could do is we could do a follow-up conversation on this right after this episode, where basically what we'll do is let's just talk through some real scenarios of, hey, I got a person and what is the advantage or disadvantage of doing a 529 or doing a Roth, or like if I had that ability, like Merce said, I'd have to have earned income, but like what would be the better way to go here? Is it better for me to do this or that? And then the pros and cons. And I think we could just walk through that with everybody, and we'll just have one episode of us just kind of having that conversation versus us trying to segue into that now, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like
I
it.
agree.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Taylor, for hopping on with us. This gets us started on this conversation. So I do like to always remind people, if you're listening to this and you just really want your specific scenario figured out, feel free to go on our website, pomwealth.net, go to the contact us page, or you don't have to go there anymore. We actually got it set up there on the home page. You can just go schedule a call. Takes you right to our calendar and you can get on a call with us. We would be glad to just kind of walk you through your very specific situation. But Thank you very much, Taylor and Murs, and all of us, just to be able to have a nice conversation around this. We hope everybody enjoyed the episode. We'll talk to you again here on the next one. We'll talk about the different types of accounts.
If you would like to find more information about Peace of Mind Wealth Management, we invite you to visit our website at pomwealth.net. If you go to the contact page and contact us, we'll send you a free copy of our book, The Peace of Mind Pathway. It lays out our process from beginning to end. Please visit our website.
For more retirement tips, check out these videos. Also, if you find them valuable, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a like.